Harry Littman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, Talking Feds podcast, and Substack. Donald Trump is trying to get that New York criminal conviction expedited before the United States Supreme Court. He's doing everything he can. Of course, he got rejected by the appellate division as sentencing approaches on Friday. We're almost there, that sentencing. Trump's going to do everything he can to petition the Supreme Court. That process, right, is you make an emergency petition on their shadow docket. Because it's in New York, it would go to Justice Sotomayor, but we know that process has been on anything high profile regardless. That judge or justice who's appointed to a specific circuit then refers it to the full court. You then need a certain number of justices to allow for there to be some emergency or immediate action that's going to be taken. Harry, you think that he's angling for the Supreme Court right now?
Oh, yeah. Look, we're in a 2-minute warning kind of offense here. I think the court is going to be getting emergency appeals both here and with Jack Smith. He'll take it wherever he can find it, but he's only got one chance left. That's New York's highest court to get the sentencing moved off calendar, and he's only got a couple days to make it happen. And his arguments are pretty weak, but are they good enough to make the court bite, or especially those members of the court that sort of lean his way? Only takes 3 votes for a stay. And you can imagine that, they have smiled on him before. Let me tell you what he's basically saying. Hey, this was bad. I've got immunity, and therefore I get an immediate stay. That's what happens with immunity. But Merchan says, and the appellate division gave it back of the hand treatment. Oh, no, you don't. This was the Stormy Daniels case. Nothing about that. That was private conduct to the max. You weren't even president for most of it. Then he's saying, well, but you introduced some evidence that was immune. Supreme Court says that's a no-no. Bad argument again, because that shouldn't get you an immediate stay, because that's already been done. There's nothing you have to prevent by getting a stay. You just can claim later that there was an evidentiary mistake. And then finally, there's this famous OLC memo that basically says you can't do anything to go forward in criminal prosecutions of a sitting president. That presumably means anything, but he's not a sitting president. He's a president-elect. That's, I think, a sort of flagrantly lousy argument that he probably shouldn't have even have included. So on the other hand, though, can they somehow get enough so a court would say, yeah, well, I at least want to look at it, therefore I better not let this sentencing happen? That's the risk and fear. It should not be the case, Ben. And I just want to say the stakes are really, really high. If he is able to evade the hearing on Friday, then I think we are not going to see this case move to conviction, and because that's the actual point, that conviction becomes final, and the history doesn't even record the one conviction against him. And I think we really, really want to be sounding the alarm and making sure that everybody is aware of the stakes of this. If the Supreme Court were to reach out and give him another gift, it would be an assault really on history, not just on where we stand today.
Donald Trump is really forcing the Supreme Court to just look like the biggest bunch of dummies and clowns ever. I mean, they already are. So
and sycophants.
And sycophants, but it's kind of like, how far can I grind you and basically show that you're a bunch of hacks? And, the Supreme Court likes to put on the robe and pretend the right-wing Supreme Court justices like, what are you talking about? Perchance that was just and this exalted body, which, by the way, has made horrible decisions in the past. It's not like this is the only Supreme Court that's made horrific decisions, but the arc has at least tended to be in the direction of progress for humanity, more rights rather than less rights. And now the most fundamental principle that no one is above the law. In the Trump absolute immunity case, they destroyed that principle and they said, no, actually, if you're the president, you're above the law. You get absolute immunity. And the contours of that are essentially limitless if you can pack it in core constitutional function or official act. Donald Trump's like, okay, you gave me that, but I'm in the transition. That needs to extend to transition immunity, and that immunity
which doesn't exist. Yeah.
And he goes, that immunity means that nothing could be done to me ever, including right now. Am I right, Supreme Court? Or am I going to send negative tweets or X's or whatever the hell it is about you? And all of those things that you and I talked about that Justice John Roberts was whining about in the annual report, all of those threats to the court are coming from the guy you enabled to threaten you, you idiots. Harry.
Well, that's how I saw it. We talked about it. But we're going to see 2 emergency appeals, I think, to the Supreme Court in the next few days. And they're going to tell us quite a lot about what the court's posture is going to be during these long 4 years of Trump's second term.
Harry Litman, what do you think happens? What's your prediction?
So my prediction is it will go forward on Friday, but I don't have any trouble when I feel close, pretty certain saying so. It's just the risk on the other side is less about law because it's so loosey-goosey and and it involves Trump, etc. But so I don't see this as a dead bang thing, but if you put a gun to my head, I say show up Friday and Mayor Chun will sentence him.
Well, we'll keep everybody posted each step. Yeah, we'll keep you posted every step of the way. Make sure you subscribe to the Talking Feds YouTube channel, the Talking Feds Substack, and the Talking Feds podcast. Harry Litman, that's where I get my legal news from if anybody wants to know. Thanks, Harry, as always.
Thank you, Ben. See you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.